Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GeoGuessr World Cup. I'm your host, Carp, and I'm joined today by Zotomo. How are you doing?
Oh, I'm doing great. Glad to be here.
Well, we are now at the quarterfinal stage. We're about halfway through the playoffs of the season, and today we are taking a look at a matchup between Calamity and Hugo, representing Kyrgyzstan and Chile, respectively. Um, of course, they're going to be playing on their home maps as well as the respective away maps. Sotomo, do you have any? Is there anyone you're backing for this matchup?
It's kind of hard to go against Calamity. After getting
Hmm.
into Division One in Reddit League last season, he did really well. He's just on top of his game. Hugo has been struggling, but it's really good to see him this deep into another competition. Like he definitely has the skill, and playing on a home map like Chile really makes it interesting. So Kyrgyzstan and is very practicable. Like you can learn the coverage and things. Calamity has used it in a couple times, so I would probably favor him there. But I would say that Chile might be up for grabs, depending on the seed. If there are locations that are pretty tough, and Hugo can use some local knowledge to better Calamity, we could see this go the distance for sure.
Yeah, and Hugo especially has a bit of a home advantage since he's actually playing his home country,
Mhm.
while Calamity isn't playing Austria. He's playing Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
okay, let's take a look at round one in Chile, and we start
Um,
right in front of a sign. Um, Hopefully that's useful.
it looks like some kind of development, which is behind them here.
Yeah.
But I
Hmm.
think what's more helpful, as you can see, it's pretty dry. We've got mountains in the background. Obviously, the northern
Yeah.
half of Chile, which Calamity's already honed in on.
Hmm. Yeah. Hugo's already zoomed into Ovalle. Um, so he definitely seems to think that must be it.
It looks like there's a flag. We weren't already
Yeah.
sure what country we were in.
Yeah. Uh, it does always look like a Texan flag to me. It's kind of weird. But,
Yeah, they are pretty similar.
hmm.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay.
they are going opposite directions, which is a bit interesting. So they're gonna see a little bit of a
Yeah.
different scene here.
Hmm. Calamity seems to have found a. This looks a bit like a highway, but like not a
Just a
major one, or at
major
least a main
road.
road.
Yeah, main
Yeah.
road. I mean, this is a pretty large
Hmm.
city. You can see if you kind of look down
Yeah.
to that southern part, there's pretty good sprawl. So
Hmm.
we're not looking for something small, which is nice. And it
Yeah.
looks like maybe Hugo's already got an idea of what city it might be, as you said.
Yeah. I think they started in some kind of suburb, and
Mm.
Hugo's basically looking for the suburb.
Oh, there we go.
Um,
Political sign's always good if you can
yeah.
read it. And no, it doesn't really
It's
look
very
like.
blurry.
Yeah, it's blurred out. It might be able to read it. There's
Hmm.
another one.
Yeah.
But they usually have like the district or the state, sometimes the city if it's a
Hmm.
local election, so that can help. And yeah, I think Calamity just zoomed in on
Yeah.
the same city
Yep.
that Hugo's
So,
been looking at. So
assuming it's right,
mhm.
not going to be a lot of difference here.
Yeah, Hugo really then showing his knowledge. He like just instantly jumped to this
Hmm.
this town. So Valet,
Yeah.
repronounce it
Calamity
in
seems to have
Spanish.
found. Yeah. Calamity seems to have found a junction nearby, so he might actually um get this round before Hugo.
He
And it's a
might,
fairly
yeah.
distinctive junction.
Yep,
Oh, and he guesses
he
right there.
he
That was
does.
way too fast.
Yep. Doesn't give us enough time in between the rounds, but yeah, that's a 5K from
You get
him.
to rewatch that, and
Yeah.
yeah, 7 meters.
Yeah, it's a pretty when you look at that map, it's a pretty nice intersection that stands out, that little loop and
Mm-hmm.
that V. So not too tricky for him at all. Um,
Yeah.
I think yeah, he had some landmarks and some ideas about where he was headed. Obviously, you could see that most of the town was to the south,
Oh,
so that helped out a lot. And oh no, that will not be
no.
good for Hugo. Just forgetting to put down a pin at all. He was looking in the
Yeah,
right town even, which is really sad that he just didn't drop a pin. So,
Yeah,
ouch.
that would have been an easy like 4,990 at the very
Yeah,
least, I
yeah. I
think.
mean, he was literally in the same neighborhood. I don't think he had pinpointed it
Hmm.
yet, but just that
Yeah.
little mental mistake of not putting down a pin and then time runs out. So not only is that like your first game, but that's your first round. That really puts you in a bad mental state for the rest of the game.
Oh
So
yeah.
we'll see if he can recover. I mean, it's against Calamity in a quarterfinal, so it's going to be really tricky. But you never know.
Hmm. Uh, but yeah, Hugo definitely getting off on the wrong foot, I guess. As you can see, his video title gone wrong, so that might be a reference to it.
Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, let's take a look at round two, and hopefully Hugo can make a guess this time.
Yeah, and I mean, this is not a bad round to sort of try to come back, I guess. Actually, the more that they
Eh,
travel, the more obvious it gets. It's southern Chile, not northern
mhm,
Chile. Yeah, big mountains could
yeah.
definitely be either side, but it's more
Mhm.
Arctic kind of feeling, almost like Iceland in a way.
Antarctic.
Yeah. And so they're both going to head to the south, which means not too many points to drop. Lake name,
Yeah.
Lake
Hmm.
Pihoe.
Pijo.
Piho?
Yeah.
I don't know how to pronounce
Yeah, but
Spanish.
Pijo, I think I said Pijo like Lake Tahoe, but
Uh,
probably not it.
it might be.
Uh, oh, but Hugo has found it. He's
Nice, very good. Maybe it's a
so
famous lake
yeah.
in Chile or something that he
Hmm.
knows.
Maybe, but yeah, definitely some home field advantage coming into play
Mm-hmm.
here.
Mm-hmm.
And well, Calamity's still scanning, but Hugo could really make up the gap since Chile is, such a long country. So even if they know
Yeah,
they're in the southern half or even southern third, it's still a long country. So
yeah, but I
you
think
know,
the most we could expect him to make up would be about 3,000 points
yeah,
here in the single round, especially the
hmm,
closer that Calamity gets to the actual lake. And yep, sure enough, there we go. And
yeah,
ace
12 meters.
for Hugo, 12 meters. But kind of spoils it for us
Hmm.
a little bit.
Yeah, but yeah, it was a fairly distinctive bend in the road.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it was pretty quick.
Yeah. Yeah, he's really
Meanwhile,
going to be
Calamity's
kicking
still
himself after
scanning.
that first round where he had it and
Oh yeah.
but I think
Hmm.
Calamity with 3 minutes is just going to be able to check enough of these lakes.
Yeah, yeah. He actually dropped his pin at about the right location, I think.
Yeah, I think he saw the
I don't know
lake,
if
but
he's
it's a little
realized
bit
it.
far away. So he'll come back.
Yeah, he just noticed
Yep.
the
Yeah,
POI.
there's the
So
yeah, so the POI giving it away. Maybe that's what Hugo also caught on really quickly was just that
probably,
POI.
yeah.
Yeah. So no, but he only has about 30 seconds to pinpoint, but as you mentioned, a very distinctive bend in the road. It's going to make it pretty easy.
Hmm.
There's a
But
couple
yeah,
of those bends though, which is going to give him a pause.
yeah. But only two of them seem to, be on the northern side of the road.
Yeah, they're also
And
north of that
it's a
hotel. So
50-50 at this point, as you can see, between the two bends, but I think he's got the right one. And sure
sure
enough,
enough,
nine
he does
meters.
9 meters. So looked like Hugo might have been able to make up some points there, but nope, Calamity on the spot to equal him in
Yeah.
that one.
Hmm. Calamity is starting off with two aces.
Mhm.
And yeah, he's definitely got the upper hand so far. Yeah, let's continue with round three. He's gonna, yeah, and this is the opposite end. I can tell you that much.
Yeah, definitely mountainous again, but very different kind of dry. And oh well,
N- uh, a nice sign tells
yeah,
you pretty much exactly where you are.
yeah. And then
That's
once
what we
they
like to
both
see.
find it, it's gonna be pretty quick. So
Yeah.
yeah, it really looks like this seed is not gonna be as challenging maybe as Hugo would have wanted it to be to try to
Hmm.
make up not only make up those points but also just even before we started playing to have Calamity drop enough points to win here. But yeah, we've had two
Mm-hmm.
very distinctive rounds, and then a round that would give you some dread, but then a wonderful sign.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, some nice signs, some very distinctive landscapes and lakes
mhm,
are mean the seed is going to be um, not challenging enough for Hugo.
mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, Hugo has found the town, and
Oh,
well, uh,
well, he'll be.
he's just guessed too quickly.
Yeah, I think he's a little bit too confident in where he might have been. I think the sign had all the
Hmm.
information of where he is, but signs aren't always going to tell
Yeah.
you exactly. I mean, we're in that general
Hmm.
area, and a little bit too fast in the pinpointing, but only dropping
Yeah.
about 109 points there. So
Hmm. Yeah. At this point, it could also just be that he's dropped so many points that like he didn't get on the first round, so
mm, yeah,
it might not
he's
make
down
too much of a
5,000
difference.
points. So if he drops 100 points here or there, it's really not going to be the thing that kills him.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
there's the
He
actual town name that Calamity did spot, which will
yeah.
give him a slight
It doesn't actually
advantage.
show up as a proper like town name. It shows up like the kind of like neighborhood name style that Google Maps uses. So
Yeah, it might be that the official municipality of the area is,
hmm.
you know, huge, and then this is just one of those little villages inside of that municipality. Japan does this a lot as well.
Hmm.
Um, so,
But
but
yeah, uh, Calamity is just gonna keep scanning to try and figure out which of these little offshoot roads he's near.
yeah, it's he should be on the main road, but I doubt that some of the
Yeah.
side roads have coverage, so he
Hmm.
not a whole lot to worry about, but needs to make sure he's got the right intersection. And
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
somewhere in
And
there. And time will run out. Oh,
and
no, just before time. And three
yeah,
perfect
just
rounds for him.
yeah, he's then now got three aces under his belt. So yeah, he's definitely he's just picking up aces. Today seems to be his
Mm-hmm.
day, I guess.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah, but to be fair, it hasn't been the hardest seed. And Hugo would honestly be right there in it if it wasn't for that the fact that he, didn't put a pin down in the first round. He was in the right town, so I
exactly.
think if he would have even guessed anywhere in that town, we would have been looking at a 200 point at most a difference between them going into round number 4. But instead, we're looking at a 5,100 point difference. So
Yeah. Uh, Definitely unfortunate on Hugo's part, but yeah, I mean, we have another seed after this as well.
mhm.
So
Yeah, true,
maybe
true.
he
We got a whole
can.
nother game, so you never know what. Don't count anybody out yet. So
Yeah,
it is GeoGuessr.
yeah.
Mm,
And we're in an urban area. We have some street signs. Um, I'd say this is 5Kable, and we may very well see at least one of them.
Yeah, we've got the intersection signs. The tricky thing then is, of course, going to be just getting onto the town itself. But
Yeah.
once you do that, um, shouldn't be too hard.
Hmm. And that actually had like a town name on it, but I think it's
Yeah, I
like a
thought it
smaller
did.
village.
Yep. Well, there's a real good sign. You want to see if
Hmm.
Calamity can zoom in on it?
And looks like they're in Chian, maybe? And
Yeah, I can't really.
that's my
Yeah,
guess.
there's a go. Yeah, it's a
Um,
lot of. Yeah,
oh, yeah, it is Chian, and
there
it
we go.
was like further south on the map. It was on Calamity's screen for just a second.
Mm.
Uh,
Yeah, so that's a really good
and
sign. And
yeah,
Hugo's having a little bit of
he's found it.
difficulty just moving.
Yeah,
Yep.
I mean, it might just be the moving bug, but yeah, he
Yeah.
hasn't come across that sign, which means he might not know that it is Chian yet.
Yeah, I mean, I
Um,
don't think this is a city you would recognize by sight, but it might be a one that
sure,
he
but
knows
I
by
mean,
name.
he did find the first city we had
Hmm.
within a few seconds, so it's also possible he just knows Xi'an. He's just not gone into the map yet.
Yeah. Well, hopefully he doesn't get skunked in 2 rounds. Got a minute left to put a pin
Yeah,
down, so don't forget that, Hugo.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Calamity's
But yeah,
pretty much. I think he's already got the. Does he have the actual intersection yet, or just in the town? I've been watching Hugo
he
trying to find that town name.
yeah. I think he's only got the town name.
Okay.
He was just checking the road direction to figure out sort of what neighborhood
Hmm.
he might be in.
Yeah, this town is actually quite large, so
Yeah,
not going to be the
yeah.
easiest thing.
Hmm.
And only about 30
Uh,
seconds left. But again, if you're in the right town, even on a country map, you're not going to be dropping more than 100 something points.
yeah.
So, not really going to open up a window for Hugo in round 4, who is just really struggling with black screens
Hmm.
and clicking problems. So, not a round he's going to enjoy either.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe it's
I
just his
think Calamity
internet.
has found the road.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, the
Nope.
map isn't loading in that well, I guess. But yeah, Calamity. Oh, actually, Calamity was not in the right town.
Ah. So the sign a little bit misleading there, but
Hmm.
24 kilometers away. It was 140 kilometers away for Hugo. So again, he does drop a few points, but yeah, Hugo still
Hmm.
dropping more.
Yeah. I have a feeling the sign for Qian might have been like a province sign.
It might have
Um,
been. It might have been just that. I mean, we're in the municipality of Chilan again,
yeah.
and then the problem is we're in a suburb that's way far away from the city, and it looks like
Hmm.
Calamity even found the same street names, and it's common. So that would have been a little
Yeah.
bit annoying for that one.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Mm,
just not Hugo's day in his home country so far.
for
One more round to
sure.
go, and quite a few points behind. I think we can pretty much call it. He's over 5,000 points down, so there's no way to make it up. So we can watch Calamity take a bit of a victory lap here in round 5.
Yeah, I guess so. Um, and yeah, as you can see, Hugo has played after Calamity, so he
Mhm.
kind of knows his fate already. Um,
Yeah, he's been watching Calamity's score the whole way,
yeah,
and ooh, well,
this
I was about to say
this is
this
a
could be
nice and easy
interesting, and
round
then they turn around and there's a sign to 2 towns.
to Kalama, which is a big town, and I didn't catch the
Yeah.
other one, but
Yeah,
yeah, I
Kalama
don't
is
think this
pretty
is going to be too
obvious.
difficult.
We're west of it, uh, probably not too far west of it, and we're on a major
Hmm.
highway. So there's the other
And
town name,
yeah, and
Churu, something like that.
Calamity seems to have found it because you can tell that the road that's going off isn't like a major road per
Mm-hmm.
se. And yeah,
Yeah,
he
there's a
just matched the
POI as
name.
well.
Yeah, he's just checking that Codelco isn't another place, but yeah, looks like he's going to get a very quick ace, and so is Hugo.
Yeah, Hugo's not
Maybe.
not too far behind. His pin's a little bit far up the street, and he'll
Oh,
move
but
it
he's
down.
got it
There
the
we
right
go.
spot now.
So a very nice round 5. Yeah, I think Calamity
Hmm.
would be really happy. This was not the hardest Chilean seed you could possibly get, and he'll be really happy with that score, even without seeing Hugo. But again, this would have been a really really close game if it wasn't for that first round. So a bit of
Yeah.
a disappointment, but
Hmm.
yeah,
Uh,
he is really having struggling with probably his internet just moving,
hmm.
taking a long time to load these images.
Yeah, between
Oh boy.
not getting a guess in the first round and then the internet
Yeah.
being very temperamental, I'm this wasn't a good day for Hugo.
And not the best game.
Hmm.
Yeah, there's a few more signs. He'll take his time to make sure he's where he thinks he is, but he's already got the location. And yeah,
Yeah,
he'll just guess right
and
there, and he'll finish off with another ace himself. So yeah, a very good performance from him, except for round 1, and would have been pretty close. But yeah, Calamity takes map number 1 here.
hmm Yeah, so Calamity is actually, let me pull up their scores. It's 2-4. Okay, it already went by. It's 24676 for Calamity and 18,173 for Hugo. So Calamity is about 6,000 points ahead.
Yeah.
A little more than that, actually.
Yeah, and I believe that
Uh,
the way this works is it is total score over two maps, right?
yes,
It's not
that is
best of
correct.
three. So not only does he lose his home map, but 6,000 points down is a huge deficit to carry into a second game. Which I mean, we can watch and see what happens. You never know, but
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's a whole round in Calamity's pocket that he can just do nothing and still be ahead in total points. So it's going to be a big uphill climb for Hugo in Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah. Yeah, and unlike the best of three, where once you lose a game, you can forget about the game. You
Yeah.
just need to pick up some wins. But yeah, well, hopefully, Hugo has a better first round, as we'll take a look at it now. Okay, let's see how this goes in Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah. So
And
into Kyrgyzstan and very
Calamity's gone to the
distinctive
border.
road to start. So
I, I, I,
not the best.
I guess so. I actually don't know much about Kyrgyzstan.
Yeah, the thing about
So I'm gonna
Kyrgyzstan
take
is
your word for
we
it.
played it. What was it? We played it in season 2 of Reddit League, and
Ah, okay.
both of these players, Calamity and Hugo, were there. They would have put into practice, and Calamity has played Kyrgyzstan in many other events because it is very limited coverage, and the regions can be
Mm-hmm.
very distinct. You can just learn, okay, if it looks like this, you're on this road because there's so few roads covered. And
Yeah.
so this massive kind of wide open road with lots of trucks is going to be in the north along the border somewhere. So pinpointing can be really tough, especially in something open like this. But the general area you're going to get within. I mean, if you practiced, you're going to get within maybe 10, 15 seconds.
Mm-hmm.
I know that Calamity once told me that he knew every place that had snow in the coverage. Like, oh, it's snow coverage, then that means it has to be here, 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 or here. And I'm like, oh god. So yeah, he knows his Kyrgyzstan. Probably why he picked this country to represent in the World Cup.
Yeah. He's kind of like the Kamu of Kyrgyzstan, I guess. The way Kamu is with
So
Mongolia. Uh,
yeah, Mongolia is
yeah.
one of those other countries. There's a few of these smaller countries that have very limited coverage that you can just
Mm-hmm.
kind of learn. Uh, and once
Yeah.
you've got them down, are pretty safe for you to almost 25K every time you see them.
Mm-hmm. But yeah, as we can see, this is a pretty long highway, so
Mm-hmm.
even Calamity isn't 100% sure as to which stretch he might be on exactly.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
pinpointing is going to be the tricky thing,
mm-hmm.
but that kind of border highway is not too tricky. And yeah, the internet issues for Hugo doesn't make it
Hugo
any
continue.
easier.
Yeah.
Not able to travel.
He
Yeah.
still hasn't dropped a guess yet. Let's hope he does that. Uh, make sure there isn't a repeat of last game.
Oh yeah, make sure you put down a pin.
Uh, and he's gonna get one just in the nick of time. Yeah,
Yep, and I mean
there.
that's not a bad guess. Like he's definitely got an idea of the area. Calamity will guess and be just a little bit down the road, 4,937. And yeah, and oh
Um,
man, that's a lot of points. This is a very small country, and so you're dropping points very fast. And Hugo not
yeah.
very far away, but then again over 2,000 points dropped. So
Hmm.
pretty rough.
And that puts his deficit at about. I'm trying to do the math in my head. I think there's like 9,000 points
Yeah, it'd be
behind he
close to
is now.
9,000. Yeah, so
Hmm. So yeah, this game might be all out of his hands at this point, but there is the slimmest chance if Calamity doesn't have a good day from here. But yeah, Hugo probably not in the best of spirits right now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but
Well,
hopefully he
the
can
one thing
overcome
we
that.
can kind of reveal is he did play Kyrgyzstan before he played Chile.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
he like we're looking at it as if he's already lost Chile, but
Hmm.
this is actually before for him. So he's probably in a little bit of a better spirits. But again, he is
Yeah,
playing
that's
after
true.
Calamity, and he can see what Calamity is doing. So that means he will have a good idea after this game, even after this round, that he's already starting with a pretty big deficit.
Yeah. Okay, so as far as he knows, he's only about 23,000 points. No,
Yep.
sorry, 2,300 points behind.
Yeah, he's not that bad yet,
Um,
at least as he's playing this game. So
yeah. Let's take a look at round two in Kyrgyzstan then. And, well, there's snow, so I think Calamity might know where this is.
yeah, well, I mean it's a small mountain village. Snow coverage tends to be in the south, like generally tends to be in the southwest of the country. You got a village name with a lake
And,
and Kosh
yep,
right there too. But I think Kosh
yeah,
actually is
Calamity's
welcome, but
zoomed in right now. Yeah, that sounds about right, actually, I think.
there's what's this? I mean, it's been a while since I've played Kyrgyzstan. Osh, that's what it
Hmm.
is. Osh is the city name in the south down there.
Okay.
That sounds really familiar, but there's an extra letter.
Mm.
So yeah, the
And,
border with what is that? Is it no, it is. Yeah, it is Uzbekistan. This crazy border down there
yeah,
um,
yeah.
is where most of the snow coverage is that isn't a mountain pass. So
And Calamity has found a town entrance sign which tells him he's in the town of Gumkhana. So that's going to make things easier for him.
mhm.
Uh, and Hugo hasn't found that yet, so he's going to want to try and get a little further out of town to figure out where he might be. Oh,
Nope, very
and
fast for Calamity, but that looked like that was an ace because he had 5,000 more points. So
yeah.
uh,
Okay, he didn't even wait for the score to show
yeah, it
up.
doesn't even wait for the score to show up. He knows what he got. Yeah, very
Yeah.
nice. I mean, the area is easy enough, and then finding that town entrance sign was really the thing.
Hmm.
There's lots of signs for Hugo, but none of them so far too helpful
Yeah.
as he continues to head out of town.
Mm.
He's actually
Yeah.
going
Just go.
north, which is opposite, I think, of what
Oh,
Calamity found the sign. So,
I think Calamity went north as well because I
oh, did he?
know he. Yeah, I think he
Oh,
went north, saw the sign going, pointing south to the town.
yeah. Hugo is looking
And
in the right area too, so he's showing his
yeah,
practice in Kyrgyzstan as well. He just doesn't have that town name, which is really unfortunate because he would
mm-hmm,
know he's just one road over. He also should know that a road like that is not going to have coverage. It's too
mm-hmm.
small. So he should be looking at those yellow roads first, just as an idea.
Yeah, he's just one road over. If he just goes
Mm-hmm.
like one road to the west, he's got it.
Yeah.
Uh, and with 20 seconds, is he gonna make a last minute change? Is he gonna?
Yeah, that lake on the sign is
Yeah.
probably a big clue. I think he's using that a little bit more than he doesn't really have anything else to
Mm-hmm.
use. So there's a small little lake there, and I
It's,
think he's going by that. But yeah, it's just
but
unfortunate.
time's gonna run out,
Yeah,
and he's gonna drop another 1,400 points.
yeah, it's really rough. He's only, I mean, in terms of distance, he's quite a ways away, but he's on the map just one road over, and that'll cost him a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, Kyrgyzstan, like I said, it's looking like it's close, but just not close enough for Hugo after 2 rounds, and that gap is just getting larger and larger. If we include Chile, which I think now is over 10,000 points easily. So
Yeah. Yeah, we're looking at about 10,400 if I'm counting right.
yeah,
Uh,
I'll trust your math on that.
mhm,
I never do the math when
mhm,
I cast games. It's not fun.
yeah,
Never do math on
mhm.
video.
I try.
So
Okay. Here's round three then, and definitely a lot greener.
Hmm.
Um,
Still in the mountains.
yeah, okay, maybe not the way who Calamity is going, but uh, well, he seems to know what road it is. I
Yeah, there's
guess it
very
just goes to show.
yeah, there's very few mountain passes that are covered again,
Hmm.
and oh,
Well, he
that's
has a
even
town
a
name.
yeah. Is that a town name? It
I
probably is, but
think
I mean,
maybe it. Oh, actually, it could. Yeah, okay.
ah,
He's found the name there.
maybe it's not a
It's
town
it's
name.
pro.
It's a
It might be the name
mountain
of
or
the
something.
path actually.
Yeah, yeah. Because town names are usually green, so that's why I was a little bit confused that
Oh yeah.
it's in white. So
Hmm. Yeah, I saw like the little text after it, like in lowercase, and that might
mhm.
have been
Yeah,
the
pass,
word for path.
mountain, something like that. Yeah. Um,
Hmm.
and Hugo does has zoomed in on another one of those passes, but on the very far side of the country, so very
Yeah.
different. Again, he just
Hmm.
I mean, we could chalk it up to his internet, but just not able to get the information that's really helping Calamity.
Exactly. I think
He is sort of
uh
headed. Well, he was headed south again. So
yeah. Uh
yeah, his
Maybe you
map
can
is
try
even
and use
loading hard.
the yeah, maybe you can try and use the river nearby to help him, but uh yeah, so far he's just
Yeah,
scanning.
I mean the problem with the mountain passes is they all have rivers. So
Yeah.
the one thing you can look at is maybe the size of the river, or if you can catch the name of it, you can like just zoom in on all these mountain passes and find the right river name. But the
Yeah.
fact that there's a river itself is kind of that's why there's a pass there, pretty much.
Hmm.
So yep, Calamity's got it 2 meters away. Quick as
Yep.
always on the draw.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, another very nice round. It looks like Hugo is actually the directionality is all wrong for this one too. It's a little bit too east
Hmm.
west.
Yeah.
That
I
river.
also think he hasn't noticed the bridge nearby because
Mm,
he um yeah. I if he went just a little west as Calamity did and saw the bridge, he would probably be looking for slightly more obvious clues, like, a road crossing the river.
yeah, I
I
think
think you have the right river though.
no. I mean,
It,
I think he's like almost the opposite side of the country, if I remember right. He's
oh,
closer to the big lake in the east of the country. Sorry, and
okay.
we're like mostly in the western part. So
Mm.
yeah,
Oh, okay. I thought the river name matched, but maybe not.
yeah, it
Maybe
might
I'm
have
just
been really
imagining things.
close. That's the tricky part about some of these countries is one letter off, and that might have been what was throwing him a bit. But yeah, 0 points, very harsh, dealing out points here in Kyrgyzstan. So that's the second 0 points, which means 2 rounds alone, he's 10,000 points down, and just yeah,
Hmm.
yeah, very rough. I think
Yeah, not fun.
he honed in on a mountain pass way too fast, and then just had decided we are here, and then after 3 minutes, you just spend looking for the right place, and none of it looks right, and then he just was like, well, this actually isn't the place, but I have no time to figure out where else we might be. So yeah,
Yeah.
never kind of pigeon yourself into the to a place too fast because you might just think I have to be here, but nothing matches. If nothing matches, give up, go somewhere else,
Hmm.
and look for it. So yeah, a very
Right.
rough round for Hugo there.
Yeah, he's got the whole country, but only checked a small area. So yeah, 0 point for him. Yeah, that's the second time this game, so not going his way.
Yeah, and
Uh,
Calamity is not going to drop 10,000 points over 2 games, so that's really unfortunate.
yeah. So yeah, this game is pretty much out of Hugo's hands.
Yeah.
If there was any chance before this round, it's all but gone now.
Hmm. Yeah,
And
2 more
yeah,
rounds. Yeah, he's already almost 10,000 points down in this game by itself. There's a town name.
and I'm I'm guessing Calamity knows exactly where that town is because he zoomed right
Well,
in
I mean
on.
the coverage is southwest again.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
he has to just find the town. So that
Hmm.
he's got 2.5 minutes to map scroll looking for it. But you can tell he knows the region already.
Hmm.
Mm. Yeah, if you're looking for a really cool country to learn, Kyrgyzstan's definitely it. You can learn the coverage on that Google has, learn the different terrains and weather in the country. Very easy to pick up, and then
Ooh, that's an interesting little monument there.
lots of these ex-Soviets countries got those. I don't know if
Hmm.
they're like they're not town names. They might be states or regional things or
Hmm.
something. I don't know what they are, but
Yeah, they look kind of like the I guess like oblast boundary markers you
Mhm.
see
In
in
Russia, yeah,
Russia.
yeah.
Um,
In Kyrgyzstan,
yeah.
you don't really know what they are because you can't find those names anywhere on the map half the time, so
Yeah.
it's a little strange. I'm sure they mean
Mm.
something, but just on Google Maps doesn't really translate. See,
Yeah.
here's a good
Uh,
here's a good example. Calamity searched all over that southwest, didn't find the town name,
mhm.
and said, "Well, then maybe we're not there." Checked somewhere else and said, "Nope, we're
But
not
he's
there
back
either."
here
So
now.
comes back. So don't think just because you think you're somewhere you are. Give yourself 10, 20
Hmm.
seconds, check somewhere else. Get
Yeah.
rid of get rid of some of that doubt that you might be somewhere else and then make those adjustments.
Mhm. Yeah. So far, looks like Calamity actually doesn't know where he might be. He's clicked into a town,
Yeah.
but I don't think he knows that that's the right
Well, I
one.
mean, to be fair, it's a small town and a mountain sort of mountainous road in the southwest
Yeah.
or west of the country, and it's not going to be easy to find. And so,
Yeah. Um.
and there's been no other signs either. It's just that one town name. There's no roads. Again, checking somewhere else might be over there.
Hmm. Hugo's just going into some random mountain passes now
Yeah,
in hopes he might encounter it randomly.
yeah. Climbing's going to be really
But
mad too because he's been had a really good game and not to find this one, he's going to be like, "Oh, great, that was horrible. Maybe Hugo's going to find it." But no, 600 points for him, 20 points for Hugo, and you can see there he can see Calamity scored. He knows he's already lost this game. Going into our
uh,
final round.
yeah. Yeah. Despite having a bad round, Calamity has won the game at this point.
We were
So,
we were actually on the same road as round 3.
oh, huh. That
We were just further up the road. 'Cause that's
that.
and I'm checking on the map to
Mm,
make sure, but yeah, that's exactly the same road, just further up the pass.
oh, okay. That's really interesting then. So
So yeah.
you would have expected them to get it right the second time, especially Hugo. He missed it one time,
Yeah.
so.
I mean, it had a very different look to it, to be fair.
Hmm.
Um, it
That's
was
true.
kind of funny that was the exact same road,
Hmm.
just a little bit further northeast. So I think that was part
Yeah.
of the problem. Calamity was looking too far kind of southwest, and it was actually a little bit more northeast than he thought it was, and so it just never came up on his screen.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Uh,
We know he has lots of room to play with. He doesn't, so he would not have
hmm.
enjoyed that round. But yeah, going into our final
Yeah.
round, pretty much another victory lap for Calamity here.
Hmm. Yeah. It actually looks like the town name might not actually show up on the map,
Yeah,
so.
maybe it does. Let me zoom in. Looking at the coverage, I actually don't see the town name. You're right. Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
point
Looks
of
like.
yeah. There's actually a POI on his screen that isn't on mine, which is kind of funny.
Huh. Maybe it's been removed in the last like
Maybe
week.
yeah, last couple yeah, because they Calamity plays like almost instantly, so he would
Hmm.
have played when the seed was released. So um, yeah. There's no real good labeling anywhere close to that location. Even though it looks like there should be stuff all around you, there isn't anything. So a little bit
Yeah.
misleading in that regard, which you know is Kyrgyzstan.
Hmm.
So you can
Yes,
be you can
does
have
happen.
whole towns in Kyrgyzstan and they're just not on the map. And you're like, I'm surrounded by buildings for 3 minutes of traveling. Why are there no buildings on this map? So
Hmm.
it can be a little bit annoying. But yeah, into round
Yeah.
five. Sorry.
Yeah, that's what you love about Kyrgyzstan. Uh, Towns that supposedly exist and don't exist at the same time.
Yeah. I don't know if this happened to me in
Hmm.
Kyrgyzstan, but some towns literally have the same name. And so if you're
Oh,
like,
yeah.
yeah, if you're map scrolling, you're like, oh, I found it. And then you're like, why am I on the wrong
Hmm.
side of the country? And it's, oh, well, because there's two towns with the exact same name. And
Hmm.
yeah.
I feel like I've seen that in a lot of like ex-Soviet countries.
Yeah. They're very regional, very
Hmm.
local. And so that's part of the
Yeah.
problem is they don't really have an international mindset to how they name or organize a lot of systems. And so like in America,
Yeah.
even if the towns are the same, are named the same, they would have like the state name after it or some other thing.
Exactly.
But a lot of these places just like, no, we don't care that there's another town.
Hmm. It might be 15 minutes away. It's fine.
Yeah.
They can be called the same thing.
Yeah. In this round, I don't really know. This is obviously a
This
major
almost
highway,
doesn't look
but
like Kyrgyzstan. It, this looks like it could be like Bulgaria, uh, for all
I
I know.
mean the car alone. Like if you want to know
Yeah,
what Kyrgyzstan's
aside from
car is
that.
pretty is unique. So if you see this
Hmm.
car, you automatically know.
Yeah,
Um, yeah, the tricky thing is
yeah.
it's just a wide open road with good weather. The
Hmm.
trees in Kyrgyzstan often have that white stripe at the bottom half of it. I don't know if that's to protect them or something. I don't know exactly what it is, but
Hmm.
long straight roads with lots of trees with painted stumps is a pretty good clue you're in Kyrgyzstan too.
Yeah.
But they're all over
I
the
mean, they
country,
know they're in
so
Kyrgyzstan. They know they're in Kyrgyzstan.
yeah, because that's the map. But yeah,
Hmm.
we haven't really seen anything, and that this points to the fact that Calamity hasn't even opened his map yet. It's been 2 minutes,
Yeah.
and it's not distinct enough to check. And now we're getting to some coverage issues here. So round five might throw
Hmm.
Calamity for a bit of a loop too.
Yeah. Hugo's having to deal with internet issues, but
Mm.
looks like it's not going to make a difference for either of them if they both run into moving bugs
Yeah, there's a,
and
a little bit of a
such.
I don't know town name or
Maybe it didn't look like a town entrance
I
sign
don't know
or
what it
something,
was.
but
Yeah.
yeah, you can see Calamity sort of just clicking between the two areas. Probably a bit of roulette right there. Just eeny, meeny, miny, moe,
And
and
you can
pick
see
one
like
side.
this is a long straight highway, and those few places usually are around the capital, Bishkek. But Hugo actually
Hmm.
going southwest, and he's going to get a better of Calamity on this one. 900
Yeah,
points versus
that's.
28. So, yeah,
Hmm.
unfortunate that I mean he still loses Kyrgyzstan, but those last two rounds really made it interesting. Yeah, we can check out their final scores
Yeah.
here.
Let's get these going, and that's 7,210 points for Hugo, and 15,573 points for Calamity on this
Yeah.
round.
Yeah, this
So.
this was definitely a much harder seed than the Chilean one, and even for a Kyrgyzstan seed, this was
Hmm.
not the nicest. But yeah, but to be fair, 15,000 is not a bad score in Kyrgyzstan. Like you can definitely think you did well, or you might win a
Hmm.
matchup with that score, because it can give you rounds like you saw. There's
Like the
nothing.
ones we saw.
So
Yeah.
yeah. So yeah,
Hmm.
a very good two map win for Calamity. Not to mention a huge score difference for him. Yeah, we'll talk more
Yeah.
about that. Of course, I think we're gonna look at the
Hmm.
matchups next. So I'll save my comments for that time.
Hmm. But yeah, on that second map, Calamity did have double the score of Fugo,
Mm.
so that just solidifies his win. So yeah, here are the results. First up, we have Lord Pepsi versus Flopez, where Lord Pepsi picks up a win. with 49,747 to Lopez's 49,230. So pretty close game right there between the two of them. As we saw, Calamity and Hugo. Um, Calamity came up on top there with 40,249, and Hugo, definitely a bad day for him. Only 25,383 points there. Next up, Shumi picks up a win against Le Brigand with 49,360 points against 44,054. And finally, Tall Impala went against Lominid with 49,986, nearly two perfect games right there. To Lominid's 43,180. And yeah, did any of these results surprise you? I don't know who you were backing this week.
Yeah, I mean, actually, none of these would surprise me really. I mean, Calamity, I would have thought that maybe, especially the season Hugo has been having in this tournament, like he took out Mr. Blue in the round of 16, so that was a chance that he might actually be doing quite well. But yeah, just as you saw in the cast, just a bit of unfortunate, more gameplay than actually not knowing where he was. Made the score look a lot worse than it maybe actually was. But yeah, Shumi, obviously brilliant, and some of these newcomers who we haven't seen in too many tournaments, definitely up against some pretty tough competition in this one. Yeah, the one that was actually most interesting to me was the Lord Pepsi versus Flopez, because I don't really know too much about either one of them, and they both had a pretty, I would say, easy time getting into the quarterfinals. I mean, it's never easy to make the quarterfinals, but they definitely didn't have the hardest path to get here. Flopez had several zeros against him, so he pretty much just walked into the quarterfinals. Was he?
Yeah.
No, he didn't play Boxa. That was LeBrigan. LeBrigan got the free win against Boxa, which was a bit surprising to see him here. But again, yes, you could get a couple free games to get you this far, but once you are up against an opponent, it's not going to be too close. But yeah, do you want to go through these one by one in particular, or just kind of in general?
Just in general.
Oh, okay.
I think. Yeah, actually, both Le Brigand and Flopez came up here with sort of what's the word? Both their opponents didn't play last week. Le Brigand was playing Boxa, and Boxa didn't play. Flopez was playing Giovanni, and Giovanni didn't play. So both of them really maybe up here through luck, but they're up here in the quarterfinals nonetheless. And well done to them for making it this far, for sure. And meanwhile,
and how close the Lord Pepsi Flopez match was probably the most interesting matchup. That they're both very equal level, and they put up very good scores in their two maps. Obviously, knowing their countries that they picked very, very well, and just Lord Pepsi just eking it out. We saw the kind of rough time Hugo had in his two maps. But then, I mean, Shumi is definitely Division 1 level in Reddit League kind of quality, and not too big of a worry for him. And Paul, after taking a break from almost all, I think every competition, he hasn't really been playing competitively for a couple of months. This is kind of his return, and boy, is he strong. And Lominid, to pick Singapore as a country just means your opponent is almost always going to 25k that map, or almost near it. And so, yes, it's really good for you, but I mean, you have to be good in everybody else's country, because nobody has to really worry about yours. So that's a big hill to climb. And unfortunately, Belgium is not nice. Like, lots of small little towns that you can get lost in. And that was the thing that really cost him. They both 25k'd Singapore, which I would expect. But Tall, of course, just crushing his home, not his home country, his country of choice over his opponent there. So
Yeah. Yeah. Lomini definitely um, did a great job coming this far and
Mhm.
playing against Tall, who is a bit of a legend in the community. I dare say. But yeah, definitely had the odds stacked against him, and even though he isn't going to qualify, did put up a good fight against Tall, I think. And yeah, Lord Pepsi and Lopez was actually the closest game of the week. So
Mhm.
yeah, just goes to show how close they were, and both of them were actually above 49,000 points. So
Yeah.
um, they were actually some of the best performers this week.
Yeah,
Um,
I mean, I can kind of see that. I mean, with Calamity as Kyrgyzstan, you're never going to put up an amazing score in Kyrgyzstan, so that's going to just cost him
mhm,
overall points. And I mean, Nigeria can also be a bit tricky, though these two didn't really struggle with Nigeria, but it can be a country again where, 24 over 24 is a good score. Italy is never anybody's favorite, so hats off to Shumi who put up over 24,000 points on that map. Uh, so yeah, and Belgium. I mean, Belgium can be rough, but a 24,000 score, not the most unheard of thing. Um, yeah, Montenegro again is another country where, kind of like Kyrgyzstan, the regions are not that hard to learn. Especially because if you see
mhm,
water, you're almost immediately towards the coast. If you see mountains, you're
yeah.
immediately more towards the north. And that kind of divide really helps you out quite a bit how mountainous you are. And then, I mean,
Mhm.
Portugal is a European, country, well labeled, good numbering. So not the hardest thing to do. So if I would expect anybody to be pushing that 50,000, it would be those two countries in combination. But yeah, despite that, I
Yeah,
mean that doesn't take away anything from their scores. So
yeah. Anyways, for the semifinals, we have Lord Pepsi going up against Tall Impala. And meanwhile, Calamity takes on Shumi. So yeah. What are you predicting for next week?
I mean, I really don't favor Lord Pepsi's chances against Hall. It's going to be a very big order. Um, Hall can put in the practice, and if he does put in the practice, definitely Montenegro will be no problem for him. Belgium is going to be tricky, and it's a much harder map to put in the practice. Like, if you don't already have a decent knowledge of Belgium, a week is not really going to give it to you. So I would favor Tall to come out. It could be very close, but I still would expect Tall to pull out a pretty noticeable win, if not on both maps. Like, he might be 1,000 or 2,000 points up on both of them. But I mean,
Mm-hmm.
you never know. It is GeoGuessr. The seeds could be really crazy, but the odd makers definitely could have Tall on some pretty good odds. The one for me that I really like, I don't want to call, is Shumi and Calamity. Shumi can really pull out the stops. He's got his home representing country of Nigeria, but they are both very practicable maps, Kyrgyzstan and Nigeria. You can learn the
Yeah.
coverage, you can practice them, you can figure out, okay, this is where this kind of uh uh points of interest are. Here's some very common sites in these areas of the country. Nigeria has the follow car all the time, and you can learn a lot about what kind of car is following you, and that will tell you a lot about where you are in the coverage. And so I think it really will come down to who puts into practice this week, or maybe not this week, but recently, maybe this month. And if you
Mm-hmm.
put in the practice now, that will probably decide the difference. I could definitely see Shumi taking his map, maybe, and then Calamity taking Kyrgyzstan, and then we could see who wins their own map by more. Could be the tiebreaker there.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, it's really close to call. Shumi is definitely Division 1 quality in any competition, and so is Calamity. So it's gonna be really, really
Yeah.
tight.
Yeah. Definitely the matchup to look out for uh, this week. In my opinion, I think it could definitely come down to Kyrgyzstan.
Mm,
Nigeria, as you said, is very learnable, and especially since a lot of the coverage is urban, I think you're definitely going to see very high scores there.
Yeah.
But Kyrgyzstan, as we saw just earlier, you could have rounds in the middle of nowhere that could throw a curveball at you.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So it's how are you going to handle those
Mhm.
horrible rounds in Kyrgyzstan is it's definitely something that could come down to. Um,
Yeah,
looking at both of these matchups, I would actually love to see Calamity and Tall in the final.
yeah,
Long time rivals, they know each other well. It would just be a blast to watch them play it and duke it out for the title. Um, I mean, who knows if they'll get there, but that would be a really amazing matchup. Of course, if Lord Pepsi makes it to the final, that would be an amazing climb. He would have taken out some pretty good players to get here. He did beat Sheldon Wong in the round of 16, which is
yeah.
is
That's
not a player that you can bowl over easily for that. So I mean, obviously, if any of these make
mhm.
it to the any of them make it to the final, it's well deserved, and they fought hard to get there. But that Tall Calamity matchup is definitely the most interesting of the possibilities for the final that I would love to see.
Yeah, and um, speaking of Lord Pepsi and Tall, I do think Lord Pepsi might have a better chance of maybe pulling off an upset on Tall.
Mm.
Um, it, he is he does have the advantage of not going up against Tall in France, which I think would have been
Uh,
a lot worse for Lord Pepsi. But if you look at it through that lens, then Belgium isn't as bad. Let me put it that way. Uh,
yeah, I'm looking at their scores in the group, like throughout all this. Not just the last round, but like
mhm.
their group stages and the round of 16 and everything. And Lord Pepsi, because the group stages everybody played the same maps, and his total score was actually better than Tall's. Um,
Yeah.
in those maps. So
Mhm.
I mean, yeah, you can't count anybody out, but you definitely have to favor. Well, let me look at the qualifications. How did they? Yeah, I think Lord Pepsi actually qualified higher than Tall, which is
Huh.
pretty good. So he definitely has the ability to put up numbers on the same map
Mhm.
equal to or better playing the same seeds. Um, so yeah, I mean, definitely. But I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's going to be very, very close, and I think
Mhm.
that one will come down to Belgium, not Montenegro, which is maybe a weird thing to say, but I think the
Yeah.
margins are going to be very small, not as big as Kyrgyzstan, but I
Yeah.
think Belgium will be a more decisive map than Montenegro, just because Montenegro is way more practicable than anything else. So.
Mhm. Yeah, that definitely sounds right. But yeah, here we have Lord Pepsi, who has really shot up the ranks
Mm.
um since his entry into sort of the this competitive GeoGuessr scene recently, and Tall is coming back from a 6 month break, and um yeah, has made up here. So both of them uh will definitely deserve the win if they get it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I mean, a rested tall who has maybe if he has time to practice, I
mhm.
would take very few people over him. After casting him and watching him for years in Reddit League and other competitions, tall at the top of his game can definitely duke it out with the best of them. So, I mean, maybe Lord Pepsi has it in him to take on an opponent like that, but I mean, you'd have to be. You could make some good money going against Tall. Let's put it that way. But yeah. No, I mean, I'm really
Yeah,
interested. I'd love to see how these matchups come out, and I can't wait to see the scores when they get released.
yeah. Um, well, that is going to be it for this week. We have two really interesting matchups next week. So stay tuned to check those out. Zotomo, thanks for coming on the show.
No problem. Thanks for having me.
And yeah, that's gonna be it. Thank you all for watching, and goodbye.
See you.